Working with the mouse in MicroStation. We're going to go over how the mouse works in MicroStation. That way you can utilize the tools correctly in MicroStation in order to get your operations done. To explain this, I'm going to go to this document and explain how the mouse works, and then we'll go over a few examples in MicroStation. The left mouse button is the data button. It is used to select icons, menus, or graphic elements. It will confirm a selection. You can also create a selection set with an element or elements. So basically, when you're in MicroStation and you're using a tool, maybe like the Create Line tool, you would left click to accept your first data point and then left click for your next data point. We'll show you an example of this in just a minute. The next button is the middle mouse button, or the pan button. This button is used for panning in MicroStation, which allows you to view a different part of the design without changing the view magnification. Also, if you're using a mouse with a wheel on it, rolling the button forwards or backwards allows you to zoom in and out. And then your right mouse button is the reset button. It allows you to reject a selection if another element is in the same proximity. It allows you to cancel or terminate a command in progress, and it allows you to repeat the last command activated. Resetting in MicroStation is similar to using the escape key in other applications. Resetting will back you out of most MicroStation operations that have several steps. And the last button we're going to talk about is the tentative button, which is a chord, and that's the left and right mouse button used together. This will allow you to snap to a point, or maybe a key point or an intersection, just by pressing the left and right mouse buttons together. It also allows you to reference a point on an existing element, so maybe if you wanted to know the coordinates at a certain point, you could use the tentative snap to get those coordinates. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this document now, and we'll go into MicroStation. Let's say I want to place a line out here. So to activate my Place Line tool, I'm going to left click on the Place Line tool to activate the tool. Now when I go out to draw my line, I just left click to start my line, left click to place a vertex, left click to make another vertex. If I'm done with my line, I can just use my right mouse button to reset the tool, and it'll take me back to the Place Line tool. Another example of the right mouse button is the reset. If I go out here and I place a line from this endpoint, and maybe I want to zoom in to snap to a certain point in a different area, so I'm going to switch my tool to my window area. I'm just going to zoom into this area down here. You notice I'm still in my window area tool. If I do a right click to reset, it'll take me back to my Place Line tool. You can see I still have my line being drawn. Now I can snap to a certain point, left click to accept it, right click to reset it. Now if I zoom back out, you can see that line has been placed. So that's what the left and right mouse button will do. And my middle mouse button, if I have a wheel mouse, if I scroll the mouse forward, I'll zoom in. If I scroll the mouse back, I'll zoom out. So I'm just going to zoom in to one of these entrances down here. I'll zoom into this one here. Now if I want to pan, I can always click on my middle mouse button, and I should be able to drag and pan on my screen. Just by left clicking it, dragging my mouse, and left clicking again to let go. I'm going to do a fit view. Now the last button we're going to talk about is actually a chord, which is pressing the left and right mouse buttons together at the same time. I'm going to zoom into this building right here using my window area tool. So I have my key point snap turned on, which we'll talk about in another section. But now if I go out, and maybe I wanted to know the coordinates of this corner right here, if I used my left and right mouse button together down here, you're going to see it's going to give me a tentative snap. And down here in the message center, it's going to give me the coordinates of that, where that point is. And it's going to tell me what type of key point it is, or what type of snap it is. It's a key point snap. If I zoom out a little bit, I'm just going to zoom out using my mouse wheel. If I change my snap mode from key point to intersection, I could get an intersection snap, maybe where two lines crossed. I'm just going to go right here, do my chord again, and it's going to give me the coordinates for that point and tell me that's an intersection right there. So those are just a few simple demonstrations on how the mouse works inside a MicroStation.